I want to understand something again, that the oligarchies are master manipulators. Seriously. They study lies and manipulations more than they know their names. Instilling divisions in our minds is among their best secrets, their fiercest, most productive, their smartest and the most effective strategy of the oligarchy anywhere in the world. They understand this principle that any house divided among itself will never stand. And so they institute division even among lights, and we are struggling to stand. I'll give you an example, like even what's going on in the last presidential, for this current election. You can see when the obedience, you have this obedient movement. Now, the obedient movement to them is an opportunity for them to bring in division. Why? Because they've discovered that the movement was formed on one person, on just a candidate. So there's a movement on a candidate. So it's easy for them to find out what is specific about this candidate and tag the whole movement, in that feature or in that characteristics. So it's easy for them to say, na Igbo people, because the candidate is an Igbo. Or for them to just whatever like that. They find all those divisive lines that works for them, right? So when you have that kind of, even though in the real sense, the obedience are people who are terribly denied, who are looking forward for a new nation that will work for everyone, who are tired of what is going on and want to be proud of their country. It's beyond religion, it's beyond tribe, it's beyond anything. But tagging it onto one person, like I mentioned about religion, rather than looking at the destination, looking at the overall vision or dream, and form a movement over the dream, and they've decided to form it on just a channel, someone who is a kind of in a channel or a route to that destination. It's easy. Just like the way people will form, a movement of followership, across prophets of religion. It's easier for you to divide them across those prophets and they start fighting each other, even though they are working for one thing. So they can say, okay, it becomes like obedience versus the Bactrians, or Bactrians versus the articulated, or that kind of a thing. And it becomes a competition, like fight, like most young people will see. So why not form such, movement on the vision itself, like new Nigerians? Let me see how they're going to divide it. The only thing they could do to divide it is divide new Nigeria versus old Nigeria. And old Nigeria is darkness. It's very clear for everyone. The old Nigeria will never sustain and will never survive. So if they want to do that division, it's better for us. So we are kind of forming our movement on a vision, not on individual, to avoid bringing lines of division. It's strategy. It's strategy, nothing more. So we can say new Nigerians movement. And because we know that the candidate stands for everything good about Nigeria, in terms of competence, in terms of character, in terms of vision, in terms of patriotism, in terms of self-sacrifice and everything, that is what New Nigeria stands for. So we can target on the vision and not on individual. So it will be difficult to. And we know that including the Bactrians or the Bat followers or the Atiku followers, they all need New Nigeria. They all want something good. And if they have a glimpse of what this New Nigeria is all about, like some of us who have seen it, they will never want to go back to where they're coming from. Just because they don't know, fear of the unknown. And they want to stick to the old Nigeria they think that works for them. And for those that are also following those based on sentiments, they don't even know. So you have reasons to forgive them. So this is what I want to talk about. So when you look at it that way, darkness uses its agents to cause confusion because we are tagging the movement on individual. And one thing again is that stuff like this are not taught in Harvard School. They're not taught in our education systems. Everyone seems to fall for these little tricks, irrespective of your level of education, your social or religious status. They all fall into it, including notable religious leaders, pastors and imams. When you see them speak, and they also speak and try to preach and try to find light onto the lines of this division, falling into the cracks of the oligarchy without knowing, they still don't know what they do. I don't know. I wouldn't blame them anyway. But just like I've told you, the way darkness has sold into religion, and they all fall into it. So they don't know. Then would you talk about education? That is the most would I call it most annoying or most disgusting thing when you find professors being used by the oligarchies who do not even pass secondary school. Some of them just managed to get first degree. And they are using professors. You can see what's going on in Nigeria. Professors are used to rig election. Then you'll be wondering, what kind of professors are these people? Who gave them that professorship? Highest degree, highest level, highest achievement, highest echelon of academy that people should see and respect and say, no, this is a professor, let's not go there. They are also being manipulated to be used to rig elections, and they are proud of it. What will we tell our children? Because we don't want our younger ones to start looking forward to being professors because they want to go and rig election. Is that what they want to use the education to do? Is it not a shame? It's not a shame. And I keep on, my suggestion, humble suggestion, is that universities that gave this people this professorship should withdraw it, kindly withdraw it. No way. This is complete ridicule. And I wonder, sometimes I feel like shredding my academic certificates and just go back to farming or agriculture. I think I'll add more value to humanity if I am a farmer than becoming a professor to go and rig election. Does it make sense? Then you can see, no matter the kind of skills you have, all skills, all education, whatever, no matter how good you can speak English, without character, you are a dangerous weapon to the society. In fact, you are a nemesis to our society. With all you have, this is what the oligarchy, this is what the political party of darkness have put us into. And people are going to school only to become a nuisance to humanity rather than serving humanity. They are all agents of darkness, right? So let's just talk about agitations for now. Let me take you through the issue of agitations and the art of agitations, in division. So when agitators request for division of their country without this knowledge that I'm telling you, they don't even know that every state will always have and struggle as long as you have this political party of darkness, this oligarchy inside that state, because they are all divided across. Meanwhile, these same bad eggs fund these agitators secretly so that they all get distracted. We keep on saying you are fighting for one land, you are fighting for one society, you are fighting for one country or whatever the other. And meanwhile, they still fund you behind because they reap from that distraction. They want you to keep agitating for that. So, for example, the sit at home that happens in some part of the southeast, does that affect the oligarchy? Does that affect any of these bad eggs? They simply use it against us. Why they pretend to be doing something to help us, but they're not doing anything. I always want to support this concept of agitation with one interesting story. I think I've told, I don't know whether I've published it on Facebook, but I used to, present it in most of my seminars and conferences where I'm trying to, help counsel the youths. It's a story about ink and water. There is this glass jar of water. It's a community, referred to as a community, but it's a glass jar of water, clean, sparkling, clean water that light rays could pass through it. So they enjoy light, they enjoy living together, they enjoy love, light. And that becomes their culture and their values. But one day, they introduce just 3 drops of fluid or liquid, and they think they are one of them because they are also liquid like them. But these few drops of liquid were ink, black, dark ink. And once these few drops of ink, got into the water, they polluted the whole water and everywhere became dark. That light could not pass through the jar again. And this community of water got frustrated. They were surprised what was going on. They couldn't find light anymore. And they started fighting each other among them, thinking what could be the problem, this and that. And for years, that ink remained with them, polluted them, and polluted most of them. And that became the order of their life. But one day they now said no, that they have to divide the jar of water into 4 regions. Everybody should go their way, thinking that this region was the problem or the other region was the problem. And they divided. And once they divided, they discovered that the same ink or the same jar of water, the same polluted water, the same ink was divided into 4. So the same bad eggs or the ink followed each of the regions to their various jars. And they discovered that after the division, light couldn't still pass through the jars of water. And they were so frustrated. What could be the problem? They found issues among themselves there and they decided to divide again. And each of the jars divided into four sections again. And once they got to their jars of water, the ink was still there with them. They never knew what the problem was, because they won't run away from the oligarchy, not knowing that the bad eggs were also dividing among them. So what they could have done was not division, it's separation. Those of us that did chemistry will understand the separation techniques. Separation techniques that would remove the ink, separate the water from the ink. It's a very tedious, rigorous process, but that's the only solution. That's the only answer. And that's the kind of strategy and answer I'm going to bring as the civic strategies towards the end of this video series. Separation techniques, not division techniques. Now, bringing this concept to Nigeria, you discover that dividing Nigeria into 6 portions is equivalent to dividing the oligarchy into 6 portions. The same people. They are still in every region and in every subgroups. So within the oligarchy circle, some of them who could not muzzle their ways to the top leadership or to have their interest, will want to divide. So they will go to their clans and subdue their people, intimidate their people, and still hold on to the power. So they have different techniques of looking for power. Not really that they like their people. And this is why I don't usually, activism, I don't usually relate activism with leadership. Not every so-called social activists are good leaders. Of course, you see, it's a very common play in Nigeria. When people who were agitating, who rioted, who protested sometime, they now got power and everything changed. They became worse than the people that they removed from the seat. It's still happening, and same thing is applicable even to this government. It's even possible to have one nation of Africa. In fact, it's possible to include Cameroon, Ghana, and all the neighboring countries in Nigeria to grow in strength, so long as we'll be able to define a common purpose and know that we belong to a political party of light and define the values and characteristics of light and stand by it in one voice. It's possible. It doesn't mean that all of us will just mix up and become one president. We can still remain countries, have different structures, just like the restructure plan and the strategy that some statesmen are bringing to Nigeria. It could also make sense. It could happen the same way. What matters is not about the numbers. It's not about how many subunits. It's about understanding, having that one common purpose of light and understanding whom you are, your identity, that you belong to the political party of light and not darkness. Now, when we all live in light and understand the values of characteristics of light, then we rather look for brothers and sisters who are light bearers in any part of the country, in any part of Africa, even in the whole world. And we can relate and associate with them as light bearers like us. That becomes our common factor, right? So, because they are brothers and sisters in the same political party of light and love, we could form a wonderful nation. We could form wonderful humanity. I have even found many younger ones who do not even understand and have this idea. They don't even understand the implications of their political affiliations and actions. So they still support a candidate just because it's from their tribe or it's from their region. It still happens up till now. And they suffer, even though they suffer the agony of the administration, of the loot, of the people, the candidate, and even the party that they support. They don't care. What matters to them is that it's my tribe, it's my people, and they turn it into this competitive entertainment, like Chelsea versus Arsenal, Man U versus Liverpool. That's how it sounds to them. And they will hear something like, we'll go beat you for Kano, we'll go beat you for Lagos, we'll go beat you for Rivers, or for River State, for your own home, with ego and pride that you will see, and you'll have mercy and have pity. I won't just pity them. What else do they know? What were they taught in school? If not English and science and art courses that do not have any form of national development interest at all, that has no relevance in the national existence. We are teaching what people ask us to teach our children without thinking of what benefits us. How do we teach in solutions to our likely problems in our schools? So they grow up behaving this way. Will you blame them? You won't, and you don't. I remember one other poem that I think I published that one, that says, I did not choose it. Meaning I didn't choose my nature, I did not choose my identity. Just to say that everything that we have become, all these natural divisive sentiments that we are using against us, it's not us. We didn't choose them. I was born in my tribe. I was born in the family of whatever religion that they were assigned me to. It's an affiliation. It's not as if I had the opportunity of choosing my country, choosing my tribe, choosing my language, choosing my religion. No, that's where God created all of us. Nobody chose it. And each time I remember some of my folks that believes in reincarnation, that someone can die today and come back in the world next time. And I keep on wondering, die as an Hausa man and come back an Igbo man, I would start fighting back. If I die as a Muslim now and I come back as a Christian in the next world, I will start fighting. Is this not ridiculous? It's not laughable. Human mind. And this is what we're going to break in our country.